Hello, welcome to my channel. I am a vegetable gardener in Ohio Zone 6A. And this past weekend, I decided to plant out my remaining brassicas and my Butterhead Butter Crunch lettuce. I planted a ton of each. I'm on a health kick right now. I want a ton of greens in my garden. I want to be able to just go out there and like assemble a salad every time. So I wanted like an abundance, so much. Like the amount of kale that I planted would feed a family of 10. And there's just two of us and two dogs who don't eat kale. And I don't even know if dogs can eat kale. Either way, there's a lot of it. And there's a ton of Butterhead Butter Crunch lettuce. They really could have given that a better name. Anyhow, I grew all that indoors. This past weekend, I decided to transplant it all out. The thing is, in Ohio, our weather, it's predictably unpredictable. It changes on a dime. When I planted it out on the weekend, it was nice. Tonight, on Tuesday, we're gonna have lows in the mid to high 20s, which is kind of scary for my newly planted little seedlings. So I took some measures to kind of mitigate those risks, and I'm hoping that everything will be fine. So let's get into that. Okay, the first thing that is absolutely essential when you are planting out seedlings is that you harden them off correctly, meaning that you slowly expose them to being outdoors. Slowly increase, you put them out the first day, maybe for a couple of hours in a shaded area, the second day for a few more hours, the third day for a few longer, and then you do that over the course of about a week till eventually you put them outdoors. And that way you prevent their leaves from getting burned from the sun. They're more used to the wind and the temperature fluctuations, and it just makes them strong enough to go outside. Why am I holding these right now? Well, I just wanted you to see how beautiful these coleus are. I grew all these from seed. Coleus seeds are tiny. This was an interesting experiment, but I have a ton of shade in my garden. I'm going to plant these absolutely everywhere. They're going to be stunning. That is completely unrelated, other than sooner or later, they're going to have to go outside, and I'm going to spend at least a week thoroughly hardening these off, because it's taken a long time for them to get to this stage, and it's going to take like another month or so before they're ready to actually go out. And then a week of hardening them off to make sure they all survive and thrive out there. Okay, I know I said the last thing was the first thing, but it's not the first thing. The very first thing you want to do is you want to find out what zone you're in. You want to pull up a seed starting calendar. There's a ton of them out there. You just put in your zone, seed starting calendar, you'll get options. And you can check to see when you're supposed to put things out. As a general rule, as a guide, it'll show you when to start them from seed, when to transplant, when their time is kind of up in the season, and then you'll just kind of have a general idea. Of course, the most important thing that you should keep in mind is your last frost date, which will vary tremendously even within the same zone. That's vitally important. But knowing what zone you're in and seeing sort of a general map, a good place to start. And then you can just check online for more specific information. For example, I'm in zone 6A. I started my broccoli and cabbage from seed like a month or so ago, maybe a bit longer. And I put it out last week, I believe, maybe 2 weeks ago. Anyhow, with that batch, my only batch of broccoli and cauliflower, I didn't quite harden them off enough. So they did get some sun damage, and maybe their growth was stunted a little bit. Maybe they'd be much bigger now had I hardened them off correctly. So I debated starting a fresh batch. I really wanted to. I was like, oh, it'd be so, maybe I can give this another shot. But by the time I get them out and they're in the ground outside after I've properly hardened them off, the weather's going to be getting up to that level that broccoli and cauliflower just can't handle, and it would be a waste of time, a waste of space under my grow lights. It would just be a complete fail. So it's really important to check your zone, check what you're supposed to be growing, when you're supposed to be growing it, because you can waste a lot of time, you can waste a lot of money, and it's just not worth it. I'm part of a number of gardening groups online, and I see people saying, oh, I'm going to start my whatever vegetable now, and will it be okay? And people are always like, give it a shot, which always give it a shot. Like we learn from experience. It's the best way to learn. But you could just save yourself so much time by just checking your zone, checking what you're supposed to be planting when you're supposed to be planting it. There's a ton of great information out there. So, which I'm sure you guys already know, but I forgot temporarily, and I paid the price. And who knows? Who knows if I will get a good head of broccoli this year? I don't know. I'll just have to wait. You guys will have to wait. Stay tuned to see. Okay, and I forgot to mention, but I'll say it now. I can definitely do a fall crop of broccoli and cabbage, and you bet your ass I'm going to do that. So I will have a second chance this season, should they fail. So we're going to be okay. Hopefully, we'll see. Okay, my final line of defense for the cold snap we're going to have tonight and future cold snaps we're going to have probably over the next few weeks is frost cloth. Frost cloth is inexpensive and it can raise the temperature by this much. I should have looked that up before I came on, but I know it's significant. I want to say it's 20 degrees, but I don't know for sure. But if it is 20 degrees, good job. It can make such a huge difference to keeping the seedlings warm. And if you don't have frost cloth, you can use a sheet. You can use like a bed sheet or something like that. Just don't put plastic or something over it because you might like solarize it or something, or it might get too hot. You could have the opposite problem. Anyhow, frost cloth, which is different from shade cloth. Although in a pinch, I have like layered up shade cloth, and I still feel like it's better than nothing. It's giving them some protection, but yeah, I'm putting a lot of faith in my frost cloth to keep them protected. And again, they're cold hardy. It's just that I'm just like I can't lose them. I just when you spend so much time growing these seeds, the thought of just like losing them after all that effort, it's stressful. So you want to do whatever you can to keep them alive, keep them healthy, and should they get down, like even if they don't get killed, but if they get like damaged and start to like fade a little bit and get a little ill, get a little sick, a little weak, that will just make them a prime target for all the pests that want to kill them, that want to eat them up. And we don't want that. We don't want that because we want to eat them up. and we need them to grow bigger before we can eat them. So yeah, that's my last tip. Make sure you put down some frost cloth or a bed sheet, worst comes to worst. If it gets wet, I don't know. I'm just following what other people have told me. They say put down a bed sheet, which I haven't had to do. Just get some frost cloth. It's not that expensive if you can. And worst case, you have options. It's 4 to 10 degrees. I vastly overestimated it. But yeah, 4 to 10 degrees is what? Not 20. No, that's a bit excessive. But yeah, 4 to 10. Okay, that's it. That's how I'm protecting my plants tonight over this cold frost and future cold freezes, cold snaps, whatever you call them, as we go forward in the season. But I wanted to give you a quick rundown of what I have in my garden right now, just so you kind of know what a 6A newbie-ish gardener's garden looks like in early April. Okay, so I put my onions out last weekend. They are totally fine. I'm not worried about the cold for them. And again, they've been totally hardened off. I've got a mulch layer down. They'll be completely fine. Once those onions are done, I'm going to put a fall crop of carrots in there that I'm going to be harvesting probably into the late winter. I also have garlic. The garlic will be ready probably in July, August. I have spring carrots planted. I have beets. I have radishes. I have bok choy. Then there's the lettuce, the kale, the cabbage, the broccoli, and a few. Oh, I got the asparagus and cabbage, kale. Yeah, that's pretty much it that I have out there right now. And then I have a bunch of seedlings in here, and I finally started I'm not going to get them down, but I started my tomato seedlings. So I did 10 varieties, which I'll just list here because I don't want to list them right now. And I'm super excited. Hopefully they'll start germinating in about 3 days, and they will be going out in the garden in mid-May, maybe late May even, just depending on what the weather looks like. So that's what I've got going on right now. Anyhow, thank you for watching. If you would be so kind as to like and subscribe and leave a comment. That would be greatly appreciated. It really helps the algorithm and all that jazz. And if not, thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next time. I don't think I'm planting anything this coming weekend in the garden, but maybe I am. Maybe I'll be, maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see. Thanks for watching. Peace. Mwah.